here we are, you and I, Colin. No Joey, fantasy football's in full swing. I'm pretty sure he's hungover sleeping right now.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
He should have sent a shapeshifter imposter in his place, as per the theme.
Ooh. Would the shapeshifter have chosen the same fantasy football picks as he would have?
Maybe, maybe not.
Do you think
he
chose?
It would make things more interesting.
Do you think he chose a quarterback in the first round?
Perhaps. Maybe a linebacker. I don't know jack shit. I'm just pulling that out of my ass.
I am going to text him right now, and I predict he went a running back in the first round. Who was your first round draft pick? There we go. I wish he was here because I was excited for this, because one of the games is something I remember him playing throughout his childhood, like, a lot. And then another one, the one I ultimately chose this episode for, was a game he recommended to me, like, many years ago. And I bought it, like, immediately, based on, I think this was about around the time we were probably playing Infamous together.
Okay.
And I was probably at like ANC Games or something later on. Yeah, because that would have been, I think the timeline matches up a little bit there. No, I would have been in Louisiana. I would have been living in Louisiana, and I probably bought one of the games here for like $5. So it's like, yeah, I'll play it eventually, and cut to like 10 years later, here we are. I'm playing it for the podcast. That's the life of a game collector, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'll definitely play this, and then it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I have the rule now where I have to play a game for at least 2 hours once I get it. It's a hard set rule I have where it's like, yes, I have played this before. It's not going to sit on my shelf and do nothing for a decade and collect dust.
And it's unfortunately the case with me so very often, including in my Steam library.
Yeah, I went through a period where I just went through alphabetically my Steam library and played like every game for at least an hour or two. And then the computer started having issues, and I wasn't able to finish that little challenge I gave myself. But I was able to play a lot of the like King's Quest games and a lot of point-and-click adventures, which was a lot of fun. I really like those style of games.
Maybe I should start that up at some point.
Oh, do that similar challenge?
Yeah, just go alphabetically through my Steam library.
Well, the problem is I developed a habit where Habit? Is that the right word? Where I'd play it for 2 hours and be like, all right, time's up, next game, and then just never finish anything. Even if it was a game I really liked. So I guess that's why I have a ton of games where it's like, yeah, I played like 2 to 4 hours and then just put it down and then never... But I still think it's better than a game just sitting there and you've never played it and you've owned it for decades.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you never know when degradation will set in.
As
far as physical is concerned.
Yeah, especially with like a lot of my Dreamcast games. Those in particular, the like Super Magnetic Neo comes to mind immediately, where I bought it, played it 2 hours, and then I think we played it for the podcast a number of years ago, if memory serves, and the disc just didn't work anymore. I was so sad, because that game's really good. I really like that one. But that's an example where it's like, yes, I bought it, it worked, and then it hasn't worked since, basically. And Dreamcast games are very susceptible. It's the one console I have where a lot of the discs just stop working. And that is the benefit to the systems like piracy things, where you can burn a game onto a disc and just redo it. but not quite the same thing.
Yeah, it's too bad.
So there's a game that came out recently, Colin. Perhaps you've heard of it. Black Myth Wukong out of China.
Yeah, I've been hearing about it.
So this was on my, like, we'll call it the watch list. Pay attention to how it comes out. Comes out this year. It started when I watched a random YouTube video, just kind of pops up on my little homepage there, and it's like best or most anticipated Dark Souls-esque games to come out in the next like 2 years, and this was one of them on there. So I've been paying pretty close attention to a lot of the, we'll call it controversies of the game at this point in time, where this Chinese company, let's see, I hope I get this right. The Chinese company basically said, you can review our game, here's an early copy, but keep your political nonsense out of it and your feminist attitudes. I'm like, whoa, okay. That's a bit of a rash request, but when you look at it, I was looking at it. You've been following the story?
Kind of. I've been reading the headlines, and just the fact that the game's journalists are actually angry about that really says a lot.
Yeah, so I'm of two sides, where I think I understand where the gaming company's coming from, where it's like, we're making a video game here, we're not making political statements. Please keep your like Republican and Democrat attitudes out of here. You know, this is about a Chinese folklore, Journey to the West, the whole deal, Monkey King.
Yeah.
Or they were very sincere about, there's like, it was like, we don't believe in feminism, fuck you, don't do that. I don't think it was quite that harsh, but
No. They just want to keep things apolitical.
yeah, please keep it straight, review the game, nothing else, nothing more. Please cut that out. And from what I could tell, it was mostly the like American, Canadian, West, and British. I'll throw them in there. Actually, I found a couple German ones because they're very on the up and up of the like feminist movements kind of deal, and they're just like, "Well, that's bullshit. Your game sucks," and they got really critical on it. You know, and you can and you can tell it's like, oh, when you go to Metacritic or you go find reviews, that like aren't a major like quote unquote journalistic publisher like an IGN or GameSpot or somebody, where they all gave the game rave reviews, like high 80s, 90s, you know, high 8s, 9s out of 10s kind of situations, A pluses, B plus plus situation. But then IGN and company, just using them as an example of a major publisher, they're just like, yeah, it's all right, a 75. It's very linear. It's more like a boss rush. It's not actually a game. The paths don't really have consequence. This game just isn't Dark Souls. 75. Like that kind of shit. Which is, in this day and age, a bad score, right?
Yeah.
And I was more interested in this game because it's like a first AAA type title from China, right? A major country, superpower, communist, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder how this is gonna go. It's China. We know the country doesn't have the best, we'll call it, workmanship places.
Yeah. Work conditions, I suppose.
Yeah, but then I was thinking about the conversation over the last, 5 to 10 years at this point of, America's not so great about crunch time and all that either. I'm like, I don't know. We're really judging another country, pot calling the kettle black kind of situation a little bit. So anyways, very fascinated by the story. Game comes out. I'm more upset that it's come out without a physical release, just from my own personal gaming perspective. It's digital only at this point. There's some bugs on the PC version that will probably be fixed. I mean, what game doesn't come out with bugs these days, right?
Yeah.
And
yes.
Go on.
was gonna say this is the second big huge title I've seen coming from. Oh wait, no, never mind. I was gonna say something about Stellar Blade, but that's Korea, not China.
Yeah, Korea's come out with a number of games recently that I've really loved. I think Liza P was also Korean, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it?
I know Stellar Blade
I'll have to check
was. Let
that.
me see. Liza P developer. I wonder if that DLC ever came out for Liza P, by the way.
I don't know. I haven't really been keeping
Neo
an eye
Wiz
on it.
Games. Let's see. They are yes, South Korea.
Huh,
Yeah, there you go. I was right. Well, good
very
for
cool.
me. It's a good coincidence. Yeah, I guess like two of my favorite games in the last year have both come from South Korea. That's cool. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna get this Black Myth Wukong for sure at one point. I think I'm gonna wait a few months to see if they announce a physical release. I don't want to buy this game twice, kind of situation. And to be honest, I'm playing Final Fantasies right now. I was playing a game for this podcast for about 5 hours. I don't know if I'm going to beat it. I'm unsure. Maybe after we talk about the game on this cast, I'll continue it. But I have a lot of thoughts over one of them, for sure. Looking forward to what you think,
I can
Colin.
imagine.
Yeah. So Black Myth Wukong, I'm pretty hyped for it. I got a friend playing it. He gave it a very good review himself. So got a couple friends, actually, that are playing it. Good stuff.
Cool.
Are you excited for the Zelda game that's coming out soon? I think it's next month, right?
It's hard to be excited for any games nowadays because I'm so fucking busy.
Oh, no. Yeah,
I mean,
Echoes of Wisdom. When's that come out? Why are you so busy, Colin? Working too hard like me?
well, there's that, and also the past couple of weekends have been very tied up with other stuff. I mean, last weekend I went camping with my family. That's been in the works for a couple months now. And just yesterday, I did the 5K Foam Fest, which is basically a
Oh, I did that one year in
five.
Toronto, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
It's all like the colorful rainbow foam and smoke screens, and it's a big run, and you get all muddy and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I did
Yeah.
that one year. That was fun.
Nice. Yeah, they held it at Ski Dagmar Resort this year.
Oh, cool.
It was, yeah, so a lot of going up and down hills.
I imagine that would be the case. Yeah. How are the obstacles this year? Because the year I went, they kind of mimicked like a military routine kind of situation, and it like
Yeah,
really took a toll on everybody.
yeah, it was kind of like that. Point crawling underneath wires through mud and
Okay, so yeah, so same
no,
deal. Yeah.
yeah, and another inflatable bit that is sort of like hopping into tire holes and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and climbing over wooden walls and such, and climbing up big rope netting and back down the other side. So yeah, it was a lot to get through, but I did it. Only times I stopped were for the water stations and to wait in line for certain things like running across the lily pad mats on the water.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they had those when I went.
Hmm.
They had like a wooden bridge. That's what it was, and it would like move and that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they got rid of that because
Yeah.
people were like knocking their heads on the wood when they'd slip.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably just replaced it with these mats.
Yeah, I'm working 6 days a
Yeah.
week basically these days. Put in a full day yesterday on Saturday. That was kind of a bummer. But
that's too bad.
hey, the bills in golf aren't going to pay for themselves.
Yeah, so true.
Mm.
And also yesterday, I traveled to my parents' place in Oshawa to work on my car. I'm looking to replace the entire exhaust system, but my dad and I ran into a snag. The new catalytic converter I bought came with a warning that if I don't put brand new O2 sensors in, the warranty will be void.
Ooh.
So now I have to get a pair of those. And on top of that, a lot of the stuff that's bolted into the car is not only hard to reach, but also difficult to get leverage to unscrew or unplug. So naturally, it's a little discouraging. Why can't car repair ever just be straightforward?
Well, that's why when you take your car in, the labor is 90% of the cost, basically. Well,
Yeah, pretty
probably
much.
overestimating, but you get the idea.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I won't take another run at it. I just wasn't in the right headspace yesterday, or even today at the moment, especially after walking or running slash walking slash climbing 5 kilometers earlier in the day. But yeah, it's it's a lot to think about, and I'll be spending later today just looking for affordable O2 sensors.
Boy, I'm always like terrified and daunted about like car repair and everything because it's so it's like no matter what, it's expensive, and then
Yeah.
the way at least our side of the country, the world works, you have to have a car to get around. There's almost no way around it. And if you
Yeah.
don't, it's everything is then super inconvenient. You'll never get anywhere you need to. Everything's too far. Uh,
Yeah.
it's kind of a fear. It's like, what do you do then? It's like, yes, I have a bike. I'll eventually get to work, but
Yeah.
you know, that'd be wild. It's always a fear. It's always a fear. Okay, let's
Yeah.
get back to video games.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
What
been
have you played that isn't from the podcast?
still Tears of the Kingdom, as usual.
Mm-hmm.
I managed to unlock the whole Korok Forest area.
Okay. Yep.
And now I'm trying to figure out how to reach Master Koga of the Yiga clan so I can beat his ass once and for all. And then I'll finally get on with the
The main
final
story.
main quest. Yep.
All right.
Very close to the end. I also played some of one of the upcoming games for a later cast down the line.
Ooh.
Won't say what it is, but it involves volleyball and beaches and babes. I think you can make the connection there.
Nah, we'll never know. Never put it together. You were in the mood.
Sure was.
Let's see. I was playing more of Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door on the Switch.
Nice.
I think we've talked about that before. And then I just got the sudden urge to plug in the Super Genesis. I was about to say the Sega Genesis, and I played Sonic 2. And I beat it and
Ooh.
just felt like it. It was just like a Sunday morning. It's like, okay, I'm not going to work today. There's no podcast, no golf. I'm just going to play Sonic 2. And that's what I did.
Very nice.
Yeah. Very nostalgic type feeling. Very just relaxed. No need, just play as many levels as I could. And like 4 hours later, it's like, oh, okay. It was a good feeling. I haven't done something like
Yeah.
that in quite a while. Where it's just like, I'm going to play this game that's very popular, and I'm just going to throw it in for a few hours and have a good time. Put on a pot of coffee and just go nuts.
Yeah. I like doing that from time to time.
Yeah, I
Older
haven't.
games.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm like looking at my consoles and I'm like, what haven't I played in a while? Because I always kind of default to the NES and the PS1, the PlayStation, and I'll just pick something random, whether it's an RPG on the PlayStation or like a Mario 3 on the Nintendo. But I was like, the Genesis hasn't gotten a lot of love lately, and now I'm looking at the N64. I'm like, what am I going to play on that? Haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we move along and talk about these two games? Okay, so the first game is what I wanted to do this whole podcast over, this particular episode. And yes, it stems from our previous one where we're talking about Infamous and Fable, kind of along the same lines. But as I threw this game in, I quickly got Max Payne vibes. Like immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Max Payne vibes, a little of the modern Spider-Man type games, and still reminded me of Infamous quite a lot. But the game we're talking about is Prototype.
Oh, yeah.
From Radical Entertainment, published by Activision. Came out for the PS3, 360, June 2009. So yeah, 15 years ago. Wild.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Yeah, and Radical Entertainment is a Canadian developer out of Vancouver. They did Simpsons Hit and Run, which we have done before.
And Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which I mentioned before. This game is basically the spiritual successor to that. You can kind of see bits and pieces of that game making its way in here. Like picking up vehicles and throwing them at targets or running up the sides of buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're very good at making an environment to run around and destroy a bunch of shit, basically. Collision detection is well done in a lot of their games. And would you say this was kind of the peak of their game development?
Probably. I don't know what they've done after this.
Let's see. Radical Entertainment. They made Prototype 2.
Yeah.
But in terms of Prototype, let's see. I think this was like the last action, because didn't they get bought out or something?
It says it was acquired by Vivendi Games in 2005 and then transferred to Activision in 2008.
And then did Activision shut them down? Oh, it looks like they just merged them.
Yeah, and there were lots of layoffs in 2010 and 2012.
Oh, that's a bummer, because this was a good studio.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah, it looks like after the 2012 layoffs, they had to cease development on original games and only support other Activision studios.
Yeah, okay, now I remember, because this was the company that when Bungie was acquired and they're working on Destiny, they're just like, okay, all these great developers and people that work that are still there, go help them.
Yeah.
I remember that story. Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 companies that Activision kind of just merged and it became just part of like the Destiny franchise. And we see what's happened with that. So Prototype, action-adventure game, very much in the same vein as an Infamous, with a very angst-stricken character, cities out to get him kind of situation. In this case, this guy's like lost his memory because of virus or an experiment. You kind of got to learn it as you go. He's essentially trying to research this like genetic company, basically, and he got caught up, he got infected, and now he's essentially I mean, he's basically Spawn, as far as you can like tell, and the way everything's designed and runs around and how he is. You disagree with
Yep.
this?
Uh, Sounds fairly accurate. Spawn meets Just Cause 2.
Yeah. And the game just really throws you in immediately. It's just zombie breakout type situation. Police slash military are just mowing people down.
Yeah.
They immediately establish that the military are no nonsense bad guys because they just they just kill civilians left and right. They don't give a shit.
hmm
Clearly, like some hush hush or cover up is going on, and they're after our main character, Alex Mercer, which sounds like a wrestler name. Uh, he survives this outbreak that happens at like Penn Station. Yes, the game takes place in Manhattan, New York City, so you get to see, Empire State Building, the plazas, Liberty Street, the whole deal.
Yeah.
So you're running around New York again, very Spider-Man-esque, and the controls are very unique feeling. So you hold down R2, you're running, and it has auto jump to avoid all the obstacles. So it's like hit the invisible box and the guy will jump. So fantastic collision detection, and the fact you can run up buildings just
Oh yeah.
without any issue at all. It's just all very automatic. Targeting system leads something to be desired. I found myself just kind of flailing around all the time, trying to attack enemies. It's very hard to distinguish, especially in the early stages of the game when you're getting used to everything, like who is who, what are the enemies. Everyone kind of blends in together. There's so much shit going on at once. I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. I'm just hitting square and triangle, I guess.
Still, that intro is pretty badass. I mean, it's like 18 days after the very beginning. You're running around a whole chaotic New York. You're slicing up the enemy military, smashing tanks by elbow dropping them, smashing helicopters by either drop kicking them out of the air or slicing them in half with your giant arm blade. The only game intro slash tutorial that I can think of that compares to that is God of Wars.
Oh yeah, that's a good comp. A lot of the controls you can tell where they pulled it straight from the Incredible Hulk games, where you're like picking up stuff, throwing it, targeting. That's very much the same. Yeah. So they really stuck with a gameplay that they were familiar with, and then emphasized it with kind of making this an action adventure game rather than just like a beat 'em up kind of situation.
Yeah.
The story, it's all right, I guess. It's not that good.
It's just there to string all the action together.
Yeah, it's like I don't care about it. Like, let me just get some more powers and thermal vision and shit, and
yeah. And to regenerate your health, you can just kill someone and then absorb their body into yourself.
That was cool. I like that because then it gives more of the gameplay, a little more than just the beat 'em up action style. You can go to a military officer, absorb like literally them and their memories, which contributes to the story, to figuring out his past a little bit, and you can disguise yourself. And if you put the game on a higher difficulty, those police, they're annoying. It's like everything is GTA level 3 or higher stars. They're always after you. They always see you. I found myself just kind of going on rooftops of buildings to avoid a lot of things throughout the game. And it was kind of fun with the whole like blood.
You can glide through the air by shooting blood out of your wrists and ankles.
Yeah.
So edgy, bro.
Yeah, he's very edgy. It's a very edgy character all the time. Oh, yeah. Dana. What happened? She's like, I haven't seen you in 5 years. And he's like, oh, awkward. She's like, you don't remember anything?
His hood on.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I don't remember anything. Where's my apartment? Oh boy. Yeah, so it's a corporate company conspiracy with military implications. I mean, there's nothing to it. That's why it's kind of like Max Payne getting set up situation.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is, like, I was super impressed with how smooth and just... I had no issue with, like, anything other than the targeting system. But you're so powerful that it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. You can just point the analog stick in any old direction and he'll go smashy smashy.
Yeah, and they
And I,
established through the cutscenes that this guy is pretty much invincible. So,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
There was actually a really funny thing happened. Yahtzee was covering this game on zero punctuation, and it wasn't that long after his review of Infamous, and given how similar they were in premise and being essentially a superpower sandbox game, he spent the entire time comparing the two, and in his eyes, they ultimately came to a tie because he liked Infamous's story and characters better, but liked Prototype's gameplay better. So, just for shits and giggles, he said that the tiebreaker would be if the developers themselves made official artwork of the other developers' respective main characters wearing a woman's bra.
Oh.
And here's the funny part: they actually did it. I'm gonna upload the images right now.
Oh, that's funny. I want to see that.
Just give me a sec here.
I think one of the things that surprised me the most about the game was when you could start, like, seizing control of the vehicles and helicopters and shit. And for some reason, I wasn't expecting this guy to even, like, be able to carry around a gun and get into a tank and start firing shit off. Oh my god. It looks like the Prototype guys did it the best with Infamous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's really funny. Uh, um, yeah, I think I got my fill of the game though. About 4 to 5 hours. It's like a 10-hour game. I got halfway through. I'm not really into the story, like, at all. Especially with this whole black light and all this nonsense and the test subject and but the gameplay, I was satisfied for the time that I played. The whole shape-shifting aspect of it's pretty cool. Superhuman strength, absorbing. Oh, you know what? The second I started playing this, and then once you get through the story, like the intro part, it really reminded me a lot of PsyOps: The Mindgate Conspiracy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what was coming to mind. Much more fast-paced, obviously, but
yeah, for sure.
with all the, like, biological weapons instead of psychological weapons, it all kind of made sense to me. So
yeah, but yeah, it's very much the kind of game you play when you're in the mood for smashing, slashing, punching, flying, and blowing shit up in general.
you heard it.
Like I said,
Colin
it's like
is really
Just
in the mood
Cause
for
2
smashing.
steroids. Oh yeah, very much in the mood.
Oh, so this is why the Infamous comparisons were made all the time, because they were like they released at like the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Hey, that makes sense. All right. Easy pass from me. I really enjoyed this game.
Definitely.
It's
Yeah,
super well made. Just wish the story and the character were a little more interesting. The second game of our shapeshifter type episode here is The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. I played the Xbox version. Okay. Came out in June/November of 2002. This game is over 20 years old now. The question I wanted to know was, because I usually don't like these kind of, we'll call it a Western RPG.
Yeah.
Does the game hold up, and will it hold my interest? Okay. I think something that came out in 2002, ported to a console, particularly the Xbox, which I'm shocked I even have a copy. I think visually, and story-wise and the depth of what you can do in the game holds up very well.
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay, this is where I was a little hesitant. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Not into it at
Yeah,
all.
it's very Bethesda.
Yeah, I'm already not a huge first-person type gamer in the first place. That's not my style. I really prefer third-person type games. Where it disconnects with me is the fighting / battle, where it's random dice roll type situations of your level and stats, and the whole game consists of you tapping the button, and you just see the sword slash going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and then it's like, all right, is that it? Or your crossbow or magic is just kind of going off into the distance. You're like, okay, that's not very. It's kind of like an old NES Super Nintendo RPG battle where it's just the characters on screen, and you push the button, it goes, "Yep, you did the move." And you just see a flash of the character. That's what this was. The fantasy elements and shapeshifter types. I'm being very generous with the whole shapeshifting, but you can create your own character. You can choose among classes and all that. Very loose definition of shapeshifting. I know there's a DLC where you can be like a werewolf, so we'll count it. Okay? Yeah, you're on a quest. Let's see, what is this story? It was like I didn't really pay much attention to the story. The plot. Here we go. Many quests and storylines. Central plot revolves around the Tribunal. Godlike beings ruling over Morrowind. Their struggle against former ally demigod, Sixth House, cult followers stretching around volcanic center of Vardenfall. 2 V's. Great power, make himself immortal, go kill. Okay, so like explore the world, go kill shit until the end, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
With a lot of in-game lore. Oh my god, a lot of in-game lore. Did you care about the in-game lore?
It was very difficult to. It's just thrown at you. So much is thrown at you at once at the very beginning, and it's like hits you like a ton of bricks. It's like trying to cram a dictionary down your throat.
Yeah. So another like disconnect I have is these kinds of games where the narrative and plot is just you got to read everything, you got to talk to everybody. It's very daunting. Maybe I wasn't in the best mood for this, but I mean the style of game it was on a losing battle for me to start. That's why I wanted Joey here. He loves these kinds of games. Elder Scrolls, EverQuest, like all of those kinds of Western RPG deals.
Yeah, I've always had a hard time getting into Western RPGs, despite so many people singing their praises.
Yeah.
You got Elder Scrolls, Planescape Torment, Baldur's Gate, mostly the medieval fantasy ones. Sci-fi stuff like Fallout, I'm a little more receptive to.
A little more, yeah. I'm feeling you there. Dragon Age is a game that I never could get into. There's that new one that came out fairly recently. What was it? It was I don't remember. I'll get off track with that thought.
Witcher 3 is not too bad.
No, that's a phenomenal game. Now, Witcher 1 and 2, that was much tougher to get into because it kind of fell into the same trap as this, where it just wasn't in-depth enough in the actual battle mechanics, where it just loses me each time.
Yeah. But as far as lore is concerned, I feel like it does a better job than Elder Scrolls, as in it just drip feeds it to make it more digestible.
Yes, I agree with that.
Instead of just throwing it all at you at once.
Yeah. So, I did the character creation. I was a free citizen.
Yeah.
Hooray. You get your race, gender, class, birth sign, go through all the different skills and abilities. You can create a custom class, which I thought was kind of interesting. I tried to make myself a thief, basically. Where I could just steal all the shit.
Yeah, I chose the Nord race myself.
Okay.
Basically like Vikings, if
Oh
only
yeah.
because of the badass face tattoos.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to be like as rich as possible, as quick as possible. It's just I have all the money. Do what I say. Um, Now, where I could see this game becoming like a problem for people, as in you're addicted, is the fact that whenever you're trying to level up slash increase various skills and whatnot, you have to do the actions. So increase your reading, increase your sword play, increase your running, your jumping. You have to continuously do those tasks, and that will increase your skill. Boy, was my lockpicking skill very high, very fast. Because again, I just wanted to steal shit all the time. So I'm running around this world. It's a very mushroom-esque world. I was like, okay, this is if the Mario world became a fantasy land like this. And I like visually, I liked the world. I liked running around, but there's no this is where you have to go or urgency to do anything. It's just go into the world, explore, and then you'll find stuff as you go. I kind of like being guided a little more than that. Like, no direction leads me to not know what to even begin or do in the game, and that's a drawback for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's part of why so many people like Skyrim so much. There's more of a direction there. It's like there's dragons out there. Kill them and gain their souls.
Yeah, and then you encounter the first one, and it's like, okay, this is what I got to do in the game. That's the end. I don't even think Elder Scrolls 3 has an ending. I think it's
Oh
more
yeah.
like if I remember correctly, because Joey would always talk about this. He's like, oh yeah, you beat all the main quests, and then the world kind of changes, and then you just keep going about your business and upgrading things and seeing what changed in the world as you go. I think that's what happens. I think.
Yeah, yeah, sounds about right. It's kind of close to the Bethesda Fallout games.
Yeah. Let's see. What did this game get for reviews back in the day? High praise, all in all, except Edge. They didn't. Edge magazine didn't give them very high scores.
Yeah.
6 out of 10. Everything else was like nearly high to perfect. So
Yeah.
hey, look, you create an expansive world with a lot of lore. People tend to eat that shit up. So
Yeah, people with lots of time on their hands.
yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I played 5 hours of this game, probably. It's about as much as Prototype. The adrenaline was going through my veins a lot more in Prototype than it was in Morrowind. Morrowind was, I'll get a beer, I'll sit down, put a podcast on, I'll go and level shit up and steal shit.
Yeah.
And then
Sounds
hopefully
about.
hire NPCs to do my dirty work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you even try to open up like the journal that's in the game?
Yeah. Once.
Yeah. Did you see it's like 500 pages long?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, oh my god. Gotta take notes when I'm reading this thing. Like, okay, so this is in this part of the world. All right. This is a spell. Okay. Oh my god. So much.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I only played like half an hour of the Steam version, and that was enough to tell me this isn't my kind of game. I'd have an easier time keeping interest with System Shock too.
Ooh. Well, that's yeah. Yeah, that's a little better
I mean
for
that,
us.
yeah, that at least has a bit of a direction. That has an actual direction to it.
Yeah. Well, all right. Elder Scroll 3 Morrowind. Anything else?
I can't really think of anything else to say. I give it, I guess, a pass. I mean, it's competently made, but it just isn't for me.
Yeah, I'm in that same feeling too. Like, there's nothing wrong with the game other than my personal taste with this one. I can't really poo-poo it too bad. It's just I'm like, I kind of wish these elements were, but then it wouldn't be an Elder Scrolls game. It would be a totally different game altogether. Which they make those. I'll play those.
Yeah, yeah.
Dragon's Dogma 2 was the game I was thinking earlier. Came to me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably get it eventually. Maybe. All right. So the two games were Prototype and Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Colin, I think we both have the same preference with Prototype, but what are the tiers that we're giving these two things?
I wanna give Prototype an S, but I think I'll just go to an A. And
All right.
for Morrowind, a B.
Morrowind a B. Yeah, I'm kind of along that line as well. There's just there's enough missing with Prototype where I can't justify an S, but everything else is so solid and fun that it's up there. And I'm with you on Elder Scroll 3, so we're in agreement with both these things here.
For
A and a
sure.
B. A and a B.
Sounds good.
All right. So that was the Shapeshifter podcast episode. Our next one, what's the theme you have chosen, Colin? It's your choice.
I chose anti-heroes.
Simple and I like it.
Yeah, it's I mean, we've played as an anti-hero in Prototype, or perhaps anti-hero, anti-villain. It's hard to say. But
He's kind. Well, he got screwed. I guess he's.
yeah,
I guess he's not. He's certainly not a hero, but he's not like he's the villain in the world for sure.
yeah, but yeah, he's given he's running around eating people, both military and civilian alike.
Yeah, when you start killing regular people, you know what? That was a thing I forgot to bring up on Prototype. After each like main mission area, it gives you like a score of how many people you killed military. I was very happy that like the first couple, I didn't kill any civilians, and then I quickly delved into, well, shit, I need health. Come here, Fred.
Yeah, yeah. Just send out an arm, stretch out your arm, grab the guy, and then suck him into your body like Cell from Dragon Ball Z.
Like the civilian death count was quickly going up after that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for this cast. Looking forward to the next one, Colin. I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye now.